Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it is a bird. It's the Quirky Bird Show with your host, Robin Savage.
Hey folks out there, this is Robin Savage on the Quirky Bird Show at theartsradio.com, where we talk about all things quirky in the world of the comedic arts. And today our subject is magic and magicians. And for my co-host, I have a local magician, and not to mention funny guy, Bob Burr. Bob, thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Robin. Thanks for having me on. I don't get a chance this often to be on the radio, so... This is a pleasure.
Now, for those of you who are just watching, you don't see the behind the scenes. And every time when I come here, it gets a little crazier. Bob got an energy massage right before we walked in.
I did. They threw me in this room with four beautiful women, and, just walking in was a massage for me. I don't know. I had a great time. Yeah,
there's all sorts of different shows going on, and there's bosomy women on the show before we come, and they snatched Bob and massaged him.
Yes, it was a treat. Best part of my day, I'll tell you.
that really wasn't the part of it, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, yes, it's always a treat to come here and to the radio station, and you never know what's going to happen. You really don't. You really don't.
You don't. I was very surprised at that myself.
I know. But it's fun being here, and I'm glad to be with you, Robin. Yeah, I really am.
Now, I don't know if you've watched my show before, but I always started off with a little something I call the quirky question of the day.
Okay.
And I put it out there on Facebook World, and today my quirky question of the day, since we are talking about, let me just find out where it is. Since we are talking about magic, my quirky question of the day is, and I'll start it with you, is it seems that the magic and comedy clubs are always closely related. Why is it that magic shows are done at comedy clubs?
Well, they don't have to necessarily be. In fact, I think magic shows in comedy in the past, there wasn't a combination, because all magicians were considered variety acts, and all kind of stand-up comics were considered the pure form of stand-up comedy. So there wasn't really
we're a pure bunch.
Yeah, there really wasn't. The arms were not, outstretched to embrace the magic people. But then gradually some stand-up comics or magicians started to do stand-up comedy, and so that's where some of those some of it came about, and they're a little bit more accepted. But I still think among the purists of the stand-up comics, anybody that does magic in their act is a variety act, basically, unless you do true stand-up comedy. But there are a lot of good comedy comedians out there, and...
Okay.
Yeah, so the field's getting bigger.
Actually, usually my questions were a little deeper, like philosophical, but I actually think this question has a true answer to it.
Oh, philosophical? You've got the wrong person here.
No, I always throw it out to the other people, and either they can call in and join the conversation at 727-597-4022. I also put it out on my Facebook page and give anyone who answers a shout out. So let's just let's see who answered. And Maureen Sullivan, she said the somewhat dark and light in the comedy club helps magical illusions.
That's true too, but you could perform magic in daylight. I mean. It gives it that little bit of atmosphere and stuff, but
a little bit of ambiance.
Yeah, but misdirection and all that good stuff is part of the whole process. But there's not as much as people think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, involved in the darkness and the yeah. I mean, the misdirection is the most. You can be in a completely lit room and still do magic.
And still pull one over on
you can still do it. Yeah.
Our good friend Long Island Mary, she responded. She said something to do with Amazing Jonathan. He made magic funny. And Penn and Teller, full disclosure, I had a magic kit when I was a kid, and it was another one of my dreams, but comedy won in the end.
Yeah, I know it does.
We're finding out all sorts of things about people.
No, the Amazing Jonathan is amazing, and
he's very
funny. And Penn and Teller are probably one of my favorite acts.
How come the one doesn't talk?
It's just a persona. It's just a character. Just like in
The Marx
comedy.
Brother. Yeah.
Just like in comedy, you get a persona. You have to try to deal a character and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So it's kind of it's just a character that he does. Yeah. Because the other one has enough to say anyway. Because he doesn't. It doesn't matter. Probably.
We'll keep on going down. Gary Osborne, he's a rocker friend of mine. He said because it's hilarious. So a lot of people do enjoy the magic, find it funny.
It is. I find that to be the case. Yeah, that people do enjoy, especially if it's more raised to the adult level. People do like to be fooled. Yeah. They like to be fooled. Yeah.
Real quick, Michael Freed. I don't know if you know him. He's fairly new to the scene. He said, I think a lot of the modern magicians are basically comedians. Magic is their gimmick, like Dimitri Martin's notepad, Stephen Lynch's guitar, or Jeff Dunham's repressed homosexuality.
I'm not getting into that. But.
For anyone watching, that's Michael Freed's opinion, not the opinion of the Quirky Bird Show.
That's funny. That's funny.
Lee Willis said he had no idea. And then Jackie Knight. I don't know if you know Jackie Knight.
The name sounds very familiar, and I probably have. I am besieged with, and I apologize to anybody that sent me emails and stuff.
No, Jackie Knight is the Bob Burr of St. Augustine.
Oh,
she runs her own club there.
Okay.
It's called Gypsies, and then for a while she had it at Johnny's.
Hi, Jackie.
Has Gypsies. She said, I never thought I would book a magician as a headliner. However, I did. During one of my showcases, he blew the roof off the club. His name's Kevin King, and he'll be there in St. Augustine, November 10th. So plug to Jackie.
Oh, Jackie got that plug in. All right. Good girl.
And she said, I don't think I can handle a comedy audience. I don't think a magician could handle a comedy audience. God, I can't read today. For more than 45 minutes. It seems like the comedy club would be different. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's also some comedians out there who can't hold a club for 45 minutes. So, but yeah, there are really good, talented comedy magicians out there, and they should be, in equal stance with some of the headliners out there because they can't. The audience is looking for variety. They are, and if you can combine good magic with stand-up comedy. It is very entertaining, I think.
Now, how did you originally get into doing comedy? Or I guess magic. What came first?
Magic came way before.
Magic came first?
Yeah, I was about 9 years old.
And, so you did this when you were a little fella.
Oh, yes. I started about 9 years old and and doing the simple stuff, and just because I was very shy, very withdrawn. I was an only child. And
yeah. I don't see you as being. I don't see you as being obnoxious, but I don't see you.
Yeah, I was. No, I wasn't obnoxious. I think I was a pretty decent, normal kid. But most magicians, when they start out, are very geeky. There's like the computer geeks today. So there's a little bit of geekiness in me, but I don't think I presented. I got it out of me. But
I would say.
But every magician does go through those phases.
I would say, arguably, the same thing with comedians. I think comedians are really nerdy or some sort of outcast. I know I wasn't the most popular kid.
Well, I know, and a lot of times that's why you get into magic, because you want to do something different than anybody else. You want to get that attention, and everybody in the entertainment business has some sort of a need for attention.
Oh, absolutely.
And I admit that. You want to be liked by everybody, and you want to get the center stage.
So let's go back in time. We've got
going back in time.
We've got little bitty Bobby Burr in his room. Did you go to the carnival and see a magician, or how did you first start?
Most of my experience with magic was from now I'm going to age myself here. The Ed Sullivan Show was a big, and magic was
really big show.
It was really, and I saw a lot of variety acts. So I really like variety acts. I really I probably have a secret desire of being a plate spinner or something, because I think that's I really like the variety acts, and I would like to see some of the vaudeville type stuff come back on
again.
the stage, because I think the variety is great. People see different things, and it's quirky, and it's a lot of fun, and But yeah, I grew up watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and there was a Melbourne Christopher was one of the first ones that I've seen on his show. Mark Wilson, Blackstone Jr. Those are the types of magicians. I'm not old enough to see all the, his father or any of the other magicians of the 30s and 40s, but magic changed over the years. And,
it definitely has.
Yeah.
It definitely has.
But when you come right down to it, the tricks are the same. It's just the way they package them and market them.
Kind of a sleight of hand for them.
Yeah. They come up with different gimmicks and different things that change it a little bit, but the basic magic and stuff is about the same. Yeah.
So you did magic when you were young, and then you continued to do magic. At what point did you turn it into comedy, or were you thinking like, I need to throw some jokes out there while I do
magic? That was almost like maybe about 10 years ago. Because a magician who does comedy is different from a comedy magician in certain degrees, because then they can get into comedy clubs because they're more stand-up stuff. But if you watch a magician doing comedy, which I started out doing, you have all these really not funny jokes, but they're funny. They're funny to the people who are watching the magic because you're not presenting yourself as a stand-up comedian. So they're kind of cute or quaint and stuff like that.
So you can sort of get away with.
You can get away with it. You couldn't take that into a stand-up comedy club and get away with that type of joke. Yeah.
Now, did you start out doing, well, I guess if you were a kid, you would have started out doing kid stuff. Once you got into an adult, were you doing more like kids, like, balloon magic, or was it more
No, I
adult
never
stuff?
did balloons till I got, into doing, magic professionally. Then I started to meet people who did balloons, and then I started to do, I'm the greatest balloon thing. I used to work with a guy up in Syracuse, New York, who used to take me to the casino when they had these big events, and he had a nice inn there. So I worked with him doing balloons. That's all we did. We just did balloons. But he was the one who'd make the fairy princess, and he'd make the castle that she lived in, and I made the dog, the monkey, the frog. So he'd have a big long line of all the girls who wanted the fairy princess, which took him about a half hour to make, And I was advertising myself as the Walmart of balloons, because if you wanted a quick balloon and wanted to get out of here, the parents loved me because I gave them a frog and they left, But
they'd cry, we don't want to go in that guy's line.
We don't want the Walmart balloon guy. But the parents said, yeah, you're getting a balloon. We're getting out of this place here. You're not going to wait half hour for a fairy princess.
That's funny.
It's going to get busted as soon as we get to the car. But it was a lot of fun, and my hands got tired, because you were blowing balloons for 8 hours a day, Or we had a pump too, but a lot of times we'll just blow them up, and my hands were bleeding. You don't realize what people go through in just blowing balloons. Yeah.
People tip your balloon twisters.
Yeah, please do. I've actually at one point it's very quickly passed out at one point because then I said, I need to get a pump. It's blowing them up.
I have to say that if you go to the Village Inn with children, like they're almost sort of like, I don't know if you've ever gone like overseas and you have like the street urchins, like the street kids coming around. And
yes.
Like you almost have to do that with the balloon people. It's like, don't look them in the eye and just be like, no, we don't want balloons.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But I don't think you were probably that pushy.
I try not to be. No, but the friend of mine, he really did really good balloons. I was very impressed with what he did. But I was happy he brought me along because we got paid very well. So, even though I didn't make the princess balloon, and he used to make the superhero balloons. He used to make like Superman or Iron Man. And I was saying, what? All right. So you've been performing.
You've been performing at some point for what, most of your life?
Most of my life, yeah. I gave up magic for a long time, though. I stopped it when I was in my teens. Should have kept it going because it really does impress women. But I stopped it when girls got into the picture. And it was actually my first ex-wife who got me back into magic.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I was about 30 years old, and I got back into magic again. And then I started to meet professional magicians. They said, you know what, you could probably make some money doing this. And so I did.
Wow.
So I started, but I wasn't into the stand-up comedy end of it. I was just into the birthday parties, which is a very lucrative career if you can stand doing 3 or 4 birthday parties a day and kids hitting you in the crotch with plastic bats. Yeah, you can make some good money doing that if you can live with it. But yeah, I know magicians who just do kids parties. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do both. You can perform for like a room full of adults, or you could do kids parties.
Yeah. Yeah, the kids may will learn a lot of 4-letter words, but I can still do a kids party now. Well, I did a lot of parties, kids parties when I lived in Connecticut, like at Greenwich and Westport, and they paid very well.
I was going to say they could
Yeah.
probably afford to have
Yeah.
little Johnny to.
Exactly. Yeah,
You're like Richard Pryor in the toy. Just play with them. We have them hired. Just play
Actually,
with them
one
for
of my
4
clients
hours.
was Lucy Arnaz. I don't know if she's listening to the radio show, but
She's actually a
I
big
got
listener of the
booked
Quirky Bird.
by Lucy Arnaz for a personal home birthday party for her children.
No
I thought
kidding.
That was so cool, and she was very pleasant. She made her own birthday cake and everything. It was like a hometown.
Now, were her parents alive at that point?
No,
they had passed away.
Not at that time, but no, they had all the memorabilia and stuff in the house, so it was kind of cool.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really good. I got called for one birthday party, the day of the birthday party, and they said, "Can you do it?" And I said, "Sure, I come out today. I had nothing to do." And I says, "Well, why are you calling so late?" He says, "Well, we booked a pony, and the pony died."
He died.
And I went and did the party, but here I've had this mental picture of this guy dragging a pony around with the kids piled on top of it.
Literally dragging the pony.
These kids are going to get a pony ride whether they like it or not, But the poor pony, I feel bad.
I've gotten some gigs in some weird circumstances, but never because the pony died.
I was the second choice to a dead pony, basically, is what happened.
They're all so sad. We wanted the dead pony. Who wants a flower?
That's it.
That's good stuff.
That was experience. Yeah.
Well, you guys at Snappers, because you manage. What is your official title? Manager?
Yeah, I'm not even sure, but yeah, I'm club manager and booker now.
Club manager and booker.
and sometimes I throw myself on the stage. But
yeah, well, that's the advantage of being.
When
that
I want to
close
save
the
some money,
stage.
I go up on stage and prostitute myself. Is basically what I do.
Well, and then you could always if you have a joke I have a new joke I'm doing. You even have the advantage of I'm just going to go on stage and tell my one joke I've been working on this week. If you do that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's a lot of fun, and I like performing. I used to perform at my own birthday parties. That's how I.
Actually, I think that's how I met you. Is I went to Snappers, think it was an open mic, and you were having a party, and I was just like, "Hey, can I get on stage?" And you were like, "Yeah, sure."
Well, you know what that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
That was happening. That's the first time I ever was in. I wasn't even working for them at the time.
Oh,
I had walked in. I lived close by. I thought, well, maybe I was operating clubs up in the Northeast. Maybe they can use me when they just opened up. And
yeah.
And he said, yeah. He says, but they always test you. They always say, well, can you bring people to the club? Okay. So at the time I was working with Aflac, and I got all my Aflac people. And they came to the club.
You brought a bunch of people.
We did. We brought a bunch of people, and I says, well, I'm just new here. I don't know anybody down here. I didn't know any comics. I just walked into the club, and he says, well, Chris Gorgeous. I know Chris Gorgeous. I said, that's fine. And he came and he did.
Yeah, he did really well then. Well, he always, I don't think I've ever
And if
seen
it
Chris
wasn't
do
that
bad.
I had the people that wanted to see me, I could never in my life follow Chris Gorgeous.
He's a very high energy.
He was my opening act that night. And I told him I'll never do that again. So if you ever get to see Chris Gorgeous, please come out and see him. He's out and we'd be bonded. He's a friend of mine. So
Oh yeah.
I like him a lot, and I think he's a great comic, and I will never follow him.
But you guys had a magician and hypnotist show. Oh gosh, it must have been a year ago, and it was a family show, and I brought my daughter there, and she still talks about it.
Oh, I think that we had Doug McGraw there. I think it was Doug McGraw. He was a hypnotist, I think. I'm not sure. I know which one it was. I was there?
You might have.
Because I know
I don't know if you were there that particular night, but it was a kid show. It was on a Friday. No, it was in December. I do remember now.
Okay.
And
we've had a few shows where we've had a magician and a hypnotist there.
Yeah, and then before, like when you're waiting for the show, they would go from table to table and sort of just perform magic.
Yeah.
And so, my daughter was really into it, but I was watching him. I was like, I'm going to get you with this sleight of hand, and I never did.
I do a lot of close-up magic. I haven't really done that much here at the club, but I enjoy doing it, and I have really good friends who are really, really, really good at it. and I think I'm capable at it, and I do a good job. But what impresses me most is a close-up magician.
Well, yeah, he had her like he put like one of those fuzzy nose balls down, and he had her just slice
Right.
it with her hand, and then she
Yeah.
put it in her hand,
Right.
and then it was big again. So
Yeah.
you're like, that's an easy trick.
Wow, there we go.
She was impressed,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. No, I
know.
didn't. I didn't.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
worked with a guy that's wife was actually afraid of me doing magic for her because she thought I was a supernatural type of thing. And I said, she's probably in therapy now, but I don't know. But
Supernatural.
she thought
Rob Burr's all
she said I
powerful.
thought I had some powers, but I don't, which I did.
That's funny.
I wouldn't be doing a radio show now if I did.
Radio show where you get molested by ladies.
I know. Well, that was kind of cool. I don't even know who they were, but they were great. They do some healing stuff.
Yeah, who were they, Nolan? What was the name of the show before us?
The name of their show?
Mhm.
It was What the Hell.
What the hell?
They call it the What the Hell Nation.
Really?
Yeah.
That was in this room here?
And I don't know how clean you keep your show, but I'm going to try to keep it the cleanest as possible. Last week they brought a bunch,
Oh, you just not you cut yourself off.
and there was a reason I cut myself off.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was trying to keep it as clean as possible.
You were editing yourself.
Yeah, so last week they brought a bunch and then what they did with them was, and it was pretty awful.
Really?
But you can go to TalkSlamRadio.com, click on What the Hell, and then watch last week's episode, and you'll see a lot. And
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
actually, I saw I saw something that because I had my daughter with me last week, who sometimes I keep off camera,
Oh, yes.
and they had like a
Yes.
rubber.
Yes.
Mid-
I can't mute your mic, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
So you need just one of those
I gotta
bleepers.
listen to these shows
Yeah.
more often.
They get wild now. They get wild. I forgot Bob was in the closet with us back in the day. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah. You
I-
had your own show
a new
here.
returning show.
With
Alex
Tiffany,
Davis
yeah.
came in today, and he wants to do another show now. That's cool. So
Well, that's cool.
hey, so the next guest just walked in, and we'll get ready to call your guest in about 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
that sounds
No
good.
problem.
We are going to call BJ Odom. Not only is he a magician, he owns his own magic shop. He does magic and comedy, so that's
Yeah.
sort of why I wanted to do
Well, that's
this.
cool.
Yeah.
I've talked to him, I think, but I've never met him.
But I think he does 3 or 4 shows a weekend. I'd like to bring my family down one of these days and have them do that. But he's got, because since he has his own, he has his own props and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
because you have, if you have your own place, he probably doesn't have to. I would imagine being on the road with a magician, it's like everything has to be travel, like it has to travel well.
Oh my God, yes. I used to have illusions and stuff, and when you have illusions, then you have to have assistants, and sometimes that gets kind of.
Yeah, and he has a bunch of stuff, but because it's his own place, he just
Yeah.
puts it in the back and then brings it out. So I think that might be a little bit easier.
I've reduced mine to just a bag I bring on stage, and that's about it. Yeah, I couldn't even think of shuttling all that stuff around anymore.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
So did you
need
said
roadies and stuff. You do.
you said you need an assistant. Have you ever done the cut the lady in half?
I actually had no. I've never done that one, but when I did have illusions, I did have a crystal casket, and I had a broom suspension.
Oh.
And those are all major type things. But the crystal casket was kind of cool, but because you bring out a platform and you build a box and you cover it, and then there's a beautiful woman inside the box after one. It never worked when I was at home, but when we were doing the show, it worked every time.
Damn, you work at home. This just in. My friend Suzanne Willette, she answered the quirky question of the day. She said, I think magic and comedy share a reveal. Comedy with a punchline and magic with prestige. Actually, that is probably... See, sometimes my questions do get deep. Because they both have a
do.
reveal. They
Yeah.
both do have a reveal.
And that's, it's interesting. She said prestige because that's a magical movie, which I love. If you ever want to see a good movie,
About magic?
The Prestige.
The Prestige.
Yes.
Not to be
Yes.
confused with the Presidio, which our friend Susan Sager's in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yes, exactly. Yes. And the other great, I just like these two, and I've actually got them from my own little file, is The Illusionist. If you get those two, The
Illusionist.
Prestige and The Illusionist. are two good films. They actually came out at the same time, and I actually thought they were the same movie because they came out so close together. But they are totally different, but they're period pieces, and you can see how magic was performed in the 1800s and stuff. And,
okay.
yeah.
Well, now is that what? At what point was Harry Houdini? He was in the 1900s, wasn't he?
Well, he started out. I'm actually reading his biography now, which I should have done many years ago, but I'm just doing it now. But yeah, he started. Actually, he started doing some magic with his brother, but then he became an escape artist, and that was most of his career has been an escape artist. And him and his wife Bess did some magic, and then then they went back to doing magic. But yeah, he was mainly an escape artist, but he did magic.
I read somewhere that he promised his wife that when he died, he would find a way to communicate with her, and apparently he did.
Yeah, they tried. They did that. And I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago they gave it up. But every Halloween evening, they would. There was a group of New York City, dedicated people that would have a séance to bring him back. And
wow.
And after a while, most of the people that were doing it, I guess, died off and stuff. And
Okay. All righty.
All
Well,
right.
very interesting stuff. As promised, we have another guest. I mean, you're awesome, but we have yet another guest.
well,
Robin, I'm not your guest. I'm your engineer.
he always has to put in his.
He does. We have another guest who wears many hats. He's a comedian. He's a magician. He's been a broadcaster, and now he's a pizza guy. We have BJ Odom on the line now. BJ, you here?
Yo, you hear me?
How are you doing tonight, BJ?
I know it's weird. It's the first time I've been on radio probably for over 20 years. It's the first time I ever did a phone interview at another radio station. So like I'm in a weird place. Like I'm like in a seance right now myself. I have no buttons to push in front of me.
Our topic today is magic, and you are not only are you a magician, you own like your own like magic. You own your own pizza shop that has magic and comedy as well.
And you're just talking about Houdini's, and the name of the place is Houdini's Pizza Magic.
Oh, it is, and I've even performed there. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the story of Houdini is he told his wife a secret word that he was going to come back in a seance, and if he ever used the secret word that only those two knew, then she would know for sure that he came back. Well, he never did come back, and she, of course, eventually passed away. But we're going to try a seance, too, on October the 31st, just to see if we can get him to come to Cape Coral, Florida.
Cool.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Although I don't know the secret word.
I was going to say, does anyone know the secret word?
No, I don't know. Well, I know the secret word this week, but I don't know the secret word that she knew.
No, I mean, just in general, did anyone find out, or was it just something between the two of them?
It was between them, and she never told anyone, as far as I know.
Soul. Wow, that's very interesting. I did not know that. So you're gonna
interesting.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a whole. Have you ever done a seance before, BJ?
No, but I figure we can find somebody that'll do it. And my luck is that we'll get some evil spirits in there that we won't be able to get out. I just got the gut feeling that that's what's going to happen. And then we got to go through the rest of our life making pizza going, ooh, where's the bad guy? Get him out of here somehow.
You just got people in your pizza shop and now the ghost is scaring them away.
Exactly.
Now, BJ, how long have you been doing a magic and or comedy or both?
Actually, I like Harry Houdini. I started back in the late 1800s, so towards the 1900s, and been doing it ever since.
And he just won't die.
Yeah, I figured, he had the escape thing. I have the living forever thing going on. No, I got into magic a really weird way because I've done stand-up probably for about 20 years now. And I had an agent call and say, hey, we've got this client. It's a convention. They want a comedian, but they want somebody who can do some comedy magic. Do you do any tricks? I've never done comedy magic in my life, and of course, I always learned it, early in life. When an agent asks you if you do something, you do it.
Yeah.
So I immediately said, oh, yeah, I do that, and ran to a magic shop that was out on Fort Myers Beach, picked up about 5 tricks. I used 3 that night, and it seemed to get a good laugh. So I said, I kind of like this one. I started using it in my act, and then the more I used it in the act, the more I added some more things, and now, of all things, I'm doing kid shows, which is really scary for me.
That's what I was telling Bob before. You have quite a lot of, I don't know what you want to call them, props or comedy boxes. It seems like you have a lot of stuff, but you don't have to take it on the road. I mean, it's all, I guess, in house since it's your own place.
Yeah, for the kid show. I mean, when I go out on the road and I do some comedy magic, I had like a little suitcase, and most of the stuff I carried around, doing the clubs was just real small, real quick, and didn't take wasn't a lot of big props. But now that we're doing a stage show and we're in a central location, and like I said, it's a whole new show for me anyway because it's a kid show, so I'm using new props and new gimmicks. And so, but that would be a hard. I mean, to take on the road, around the area, yes, but to actually jump on an airplane, it'd be tough because as Bob, I'm sorry, I should know because what's your other guest name?
Bob.
Yeah, we've talked. I've never
Bob,
met you. Yeah.
Yeah, Bob manages snappers in here in Palm Harbor.
Now, Bob, have you ever, a magician's one of their favorite tools is to use cylinders, right? Have you ever used any cylinders?
Yeah. I don't use them now, but when I started, we did.
Do not take one of those on an airplane.
No,
I was going to the Midwest last August, actually, and I had some metal cylinders for one of the tricks that I did, and I ended up, they checked every place that I went. They followed me to the bathroom. They checked everybody's credentials before we got on the plane. I'm going, it was me. I caused all this.
Yeah.
Oh, because so the TSA does not like cylinder-shaped objects in your luggage.
Well,
No.
they saw these metal cylinders, and I said, I tell you what, before they even go through there, I'll tell you right now, I'm a magician. You're going to see 2 cylinders, and I'll just warn you up front. And they took it through, and everything went out of the suitcase. They put the powder in. They put the sniff dogs. I mean, and I got very well searched.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed that, though.
The story has a silver lining, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I had a happy ending.
Now you said you sort of by happenstance, I guess, got into magic. How did it work at that convention? I mean, were you able to convince the?
Yeah, it went over real well. Of course, I did, mainly my, the act I was doing at the time, and like I said, I did 3 little tricks, and probably the whole time spent doing those 3 tricks were probably, I'd say, 10 minutes out of about a 45-minute act. So, they didn't get a lot, but they seemed to be happy. And when I heard back from the agent, he wasn't yelling and screaming, and he's booked me since. So I think it probably went okay. And I did get paid. That was the main thing. The check
always
cleared.
the main thing. The check cleared. Yeah, exactly.
That's always what you're on pins and needles about as a comedian.
Yeah, who cares about it's funny? Did the check clear? All right.
So how long have you been performing in general, BJ?
I've been doing radio since I was in high school, and I won't tell you when that was and what it was. And probably, if you being in Tampa, you've got to know the name G. David Howard. He had a club in Fort Myers where I was doing morning radio, and he would come in with his comedians, and he would come in and be part of the morning show a lot. And I said, I always wanted to do what you do. I said, I always want to do what you do. And I used to go to the club all the time, and just one night out of the blue, he called me up on stage and said, why don't you tell a joke? You've always wanted to do this. And it was hard to think of a joke anyway, but I think I came up with one. I couldn't tell you what it was. People kind of laughed, and it was like, okay, it was fun. And then after that show, he said, I'm thinking about starting an open mic, and you're a radio guy. You're very well known in the community because of the radio show. Why don't you host my open mic nights? Then you come as a DJ, and you don't have to be funny. You just have to introduce the acts, and if you intertwine some jokes and kind of do it as you go. Do it, and of course that's how it all got started. I got the bug, and G. David Howard had a lot to do with the beginning of my career. Tom Drake and David Say grabbed the whole thing, helped me write, and if you get somebody early in a career that will lead you and has done things on their own, it's a big help in the comedy world. And I just happened to get that break that I had 3 great headliners that started working with me from the very beginning.
Wow. G. David Howard, I mean, he doesn't need an opener. He doesn't need a guest set. He doesn't even need a host. He just goes.
When he comes to the club, he just does it. Just put his CD on, and I just go to the back and sit down. That's it.
Oh, well, when he had his club in Fort Myers, it was always funny because he'd always do 2 shows on Saturday night, like a lot of clubs do. And if he was doing the show himself at the end of the first show, he'd say, okay, that's the first show. If anybody wants to stick around for the second show, you can, because it'll be totally different. And then, they turned the room a little bit, and a few other people would come in, and he would go for another 2 or 3 hours. And there's many nights that it was like, he would start the show at 8 o'clock at night, and 1 o'clock in the morning he'd be coming off stage. It was not unusual at all for G. David to do that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've been in comedy for 6 years, and I do try to write a lot, but you can write a lot, but from getting it on the paper to polished in your mouth, I guess, and then get people to laugh. Like, there's so many sections of it, and to have that much material is just beyond impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was really impressed with your material too, by the way. You are very clever.
Oh, thank you.
You almost have that old, I don't want to say old fashioned, but that old school writing where, you're not going for the dirty word all the time just to get the laugh. It was very clever and very well written material. I just want to give you a thumbs up for that.
Oh, thank you, BJ. Thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, I'm going to be playing your club again next week, I believe.
Yeah, will you be? This Saturday night with Alan Prophet.
Alan Prophet. I knew it started with an A. I was trying to think of the headliner's name. Yeah, so that should be.
Alan's another one of those guys that's been around forever, and I started working with early in my career. He's been comedy on the road, Evening at the Improv, about every A&E series I know he's done, and he did a lot of other things. He was on Caroline's, and a class guy and a good guy, and I'm fortunate to get him to come down to my little magic shop, quote, magic theater, quote, comedy show on Saturday nights.
But that's cool. How did you come up with wanting to start like your own? I don't want to say club, because it is a pizza shop, but since it's yours, you can do whatever you want with it. How did you decide to do that from being on the road at one point?
It was, anybody who's been on the road a lot, you get tired of the road. Of course, like you said at the beginning of the show when I came on, I'd done radio practically all my life, and the radio business has just died. I mean, it's all voice tracks out of market. It's all syndicated anymore. And the big clear channels in the world, I mean, they got the same guy on 20 different stations throughout the country. Mm-hmm. And it's just, the business has just changed so much. And so, you get to be my age, there's not a whole lot of options out there. So I had some investments that did well for me. So I said, okay, let's try this little venture. So we're doing that now. And, I'm getting to have fun because I got my own stage, and with the kid shows and the comedy shows, and we also do the birthday party. So it's good for me because I get on stage at least probably 4 to 5, maybe even 6 times a week. So
that's really,
I'm having fun, and we're trying to make money. That's the key word. We're trying to make money. Someday, that I've been told, maybe.
But I like that area because it's like being in a little town. I grew up in a little town, but it's like being in a little town, but still being like in a city. You know what I mean? You kind of have the best of both worlds. I mean,
The only problem here is just the comedy world. Is so small. Like, you guys in Tampa, there's a lot of quality comedians and a lot of stages to grab. You go to Orlando, the same thing. Miami, the same thing. Jacksonville, that's starting to grow a little bit. There's becoming, more and more little small rooms. But when you're in a little town like, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, there's maybe 3 or 4 stages you can grab, and it's hard to grab them. There's Laughing down here. You got Captain Bryant's down in Marco Island. You got Masani's in Port Charlotte. And, there's not a whole lot of rooms for people to grab stage time. So, really, this is a real rough area to get started in this business. Like I said, I just got lucky with G. David latching on to me and, helping me out, or I'd have never gotten even started in the business, probably. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, that's pretty good if you could sort of be the MC, because, it's not really the MC's job to be funny. I mean, as comedians, we always try to be funny at any point, but you really can get away with just knowing how to be a host, and then if you get laughs, you get laughs. But I'm sure as anyone, once you get like the first couple laughs, you're just addicted to it. Like, oh, yay!
It's like the best thing I've ever done. There's a place here called the Barbara B. Mann, which is the big theater in town, and I got to open for Elaine Boozler. I never will forget that. And I walk out on stage, and I delivered my first line, getting that slap in the face with all that laughter sitting in theater seats. I didn't sleep for about 2 weeks after that show.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? When I have a terrible show, I don't sleep. And when I have a really, really good show, I don't sleep either. Like, you just have that either, like, I hate myself adrenaline, or like, I'm the best ever adrenaline. But that adrenaline's always there.
Exactly.
Yeah, they feel like, oh, it's like drinking. I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. You think I could go up after the headliner, just do a couple more jokes and prove that I am funny?
I know I can do it. I can get them back. Yes. Oh, but talking about magic, Bob had brought up a point about how magic has changed over the years. What do you guys think about these new, like, I don't know, these 21st century comedians, or not comedians, I'm sorry, like magicians, like the street magicians, like I'm thinking of Chris Angel, and who's the guy who...
I give everybody credit they can do what they do,
Uh-huh.
you know, and the more magic out there, the better, because it makes the business grow and people are interested in it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's big right now because this is just shows what all crazy things I've done. I always say I've never had a real job. It's always been radio or something. But I actually, for a while, in between radio gigs, because I had a non-compete contract, I had to do something for 6 months. So I went and took magic tricks and sold them at a flea market. But you'd be surprised that really the age for magic nowadays is between like about 13, 14, up to about 22, 23 males. Mm-hmm. And it seems like everybody who's buying magic, at least at magic shops nowadays, that's what they're looking. They want the street magic. They want to be the Chris Angels. And that seems to be the new breed, you know. The street magic is like the parlor, what they want to call it, or stage magic. It's still there, but it's far and few between. I mean, like, we do our shows down here, and we get good crowds because they can't get anywhere else. You can go to Orlando, you know, they got Magic Theater there, but not a whole lot of places to get if you really want to go see a magic show, unless it's something special that comes to your town, like the circus.
Yeah.
exactly.
I guess that's true. Even in Tampa, I don't know that there's any place you could consistently see magic. I mean, you can. There's comedy clubs who have magicians every now and again, but
Right. There's no particularly magic theater. No.
yeah,
No.
yeah. So you did carve yourself out a nice little niche
Nice
there.
little niche there.
Yeah.
I guess we're having fun so far, and we're especially on Friday nights. For some magic reason, we sell out of that every Friday night. But like I said, it's kids. The show that we're geared toward between 4 and like maybe 4 and 14. But we had a bunch of senior citizens there a couple weeks ago, and then one lady was laughing so hard she was crying. I don't know if she was laughing at my stuff or just the kids that I had on stage, because they're just so spontaneous. And they were shouting. It's like watching the Art Linkletter show while I do magic, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
And then for people who don't know what Art Linkletter is, he was the guy who did a kids show where he interviewed them all the time.
Now
I gave away my age there, didn't I?
No, I'm in the same era, so don't worry about it.
Bob knew who you were talking about.
I knew who you were talking about.
That's funny.
But yeah, whether it's magic or comedy, I'm one of those people. I just love the stage. I think a lot of people are that way, and of course, a lot of great comedians started out. I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but one of the greats, Johnny Carson, started out
He's a magician.
doing magic.
Yeah.
Also, Harry Anderson started out doing magic.
Oh yeah. He was sort of I don't even know what the word, an eccentric magician. Like, he was almost like a
quirky.
hustler. Yeah.
Yeah, hustler.
He was
right.
almost a hustler
Yeah,
who
that
sort
was
of
his
did
persona.
magic.
That was his persona. Yeah.
Yeah. He was.
Who are you talking about?
Harry Anderson.
Yeah.
Harry Anderson.
Did you say he was?
Harry actually invented a lot of tricks on his own.
Oh, did he?
There's a lot of tricks out there now that that he developed. Harry
Dick
Anderson.
Cavett also started as a magician. Dick Cavett.
Oh, I did not know
the
that.
talk show host, yeah.
Okay.
He was big in magic, yeah. He started out as a magician.
Oh, see, all this stuff, all this magic is coming out of the woodworks. If it wasn't for magic, we wouldn't have these comedians.
Yeah, it was for
You young whippersnappers are learning some things in that. That's what I'll tell you here, young lady.
Exactly.
You youngins, we don't be teaching you anything or teaching that.
I'm actually not that young. I knew of Art Linkletter. I don't know that I ever watched his show, so.
Oh my God.
I know of him.
You know of him.
I know of him.
I read in the history
Have you ever
books.
heard like Bob Hope and Milton Berle?
Yeah, I do know that, and I was sad to see that Phyllis Diller passed away.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
She did.
95.
I
And Bob, you you probably worked with her before. Just an awesome lady. She's always
She is a
pleasant,
very
always
nice lady. I've never worked with her, but I knew of her, and actually I did a show that they sent to her.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of, I'll explain that to you later. No, she was a benefactor of a senior home up here in Syracuse.
Oh.
Where I worked, and she donated a lot of her paintings and stuff.
Oh,
that they
to the
sold.
senior home.
Yeah, and they gave her a celebration, so they had me and some other people entertaining, and they videotaped it with the people at the senior home as the audience, and they sent her a copy of that.
Now, I would think that would be, I know you had said that you had some senior citizens in your audience, BJ, but I would think that would actually be a pretty, because that's the vaudeville era. That's when you were talking about variety acts, I would think that it would go, like magic would go over well in the senior community.
They do love that type of stuff, and they like the clean stuff, and yeah, they do enjoy that stuff because they remember that. They remember.
Yeah, and
as a child.
Like I said, and that's usually what we pack in. We mix it with seniors and families, and they both seem to enjoy it. The only thing that, like I said, every once in a while a teenager will come in there and I'll say, "All right, I was a little below you, wasn't I?" And they go, "Oh no, we had a good time."
And don't ask an really old ladies to pick a card because it takes them a while.
I know how to do that.
Pick a card.
Magnets. I know how to do that.
Either pick a card or walk into the light, whichever you want to do. I don't care.
Do you guys find that people are trying to always figure out your tricks when you're doing the magic? Are they always trying to bust you, or are they? Because I always try to figure it out, but I've never actually figured it out.
Yeah, I've had people come up to me and say, "I know how you do that," and they tell me how they do it, and I say, "You got me," but they were totally wrong.
Here's what I'm still working on, and maybe, Bob, you can help me, because you've been doing magic for a long time. Like I said, I'm just really starting to deal with the kid shows, but I'm really, really enjoying them. But there's just not a whole lot of things you can do with a 5-year-old heckler who's just as cute as a button. How do you handle that? Can you help me, sir?
Oh, yeah, I've been through I was telling Robert, I've been through the shows where the kids get wild. The parents are out in the kitchen eating wine and cheese, and they leave you as a babysitter for the kids who's running all over the place, and I got many times hit in the balls with a plastic bat, and then it's like you gotta, I can't, I don't know. Every show is different. I don't know. Involve them in the show a little bit, but yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm finding out kind of works. Just kind of like la 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 la, and then I don't know why that works, but it's becoming magic for me. I just
good karate chop to the neck will do it too. So.
See, I guess since I'm a mom, I think I'd always be in mom mode. I'd be like, hey, knock it off. And then you really can't do that because then you're not the entertainment anymore. Yeah. You make the children cry.
I always just say, hey, little girl, I don't come to shake the bed while you're working. Now leave me alone. I'm doing magic up here. I had a mom get so upset with me the other night when I used that. I don't understand it at all.
Really? Oh, no sense of humor whatsoever.
Why did she get upset? I don't understand. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
People today, they're too politically correct. That's the problem.
Politically correct, yeah.
That's the problem. All right, well, BJ, you feel free to plug anything you want to plug. I think we only have a few more minutes left here. Where's your club located? Where's your Facebook websites? Anything you want to plug?
You can find us at Houdini's Pizza Magic on Facebook. Just like us, and then of course my page is bjodom.com, where I'm also on Facebook. And our shows are every Thursday. Actually, if you were a magician, but of course I know you have a lot of Tampa listeners. But for people down in this area, every Thursday night we do an open stage night where we let young magicians everywhere from little kids all the way up to the senior citizens that belong to the Magic Club come out, and they do magic on Thursday nights, and we do shows on Friday night at 7, Saturday 5:30 and 7:30. Of course, we do the birthday parties. We just started doing the comedy shows, and they're slowly building on Saturday nights at 9, and those are 18 and up, but everything else we do at Houdini's is all family friendly.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you almost have like an open mic for magic, like a magician open mic.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that on Thursday nights, and actually we get a pretty good response.
Good.
Now, I saw somewhere on your Facebook page, did you have a teenage magician coming, or do you have a teenage singer? I saw some Justin Bieber-esque
Oh yeah,
guy on your Facebook.
she's already been there. There's this kid called Cody Vagel, who is on this PBS show called Curious Kids. Just signed a record deal, and his producer lives in Fort Myers and is a good friend of ours from our radio days because he's an old ex-rocker that worked with people like The Who and things like that. And so he's producing this kid's album, and this is really it was his first exposure to being out and a live audience, which was kind of cool. He's a 12-year-old kid, and he's a great kid, and he's got lots of talent, and I think he's going to go, a long way. But it was just like, it was kind of his, coming out party where they actually let this kid perform, and he's got a couple other jobs now coming up. But if he ever does make it big, his very first live performance was at Houdini's.
Wow.
Exactly.
I always hate it when 12-year-olds have more things and more irons in the fire than I do. Curse you, 12-year-old!
12 years old, working a record deal, has a new album coming out, has a TV show. I'm figuring out, what did I do wrong? I ain't even been able to get my own TV show yet.
I know.
They'll be burned out at 16, so don't worry about it. Yeah.
They will be, but I don't know. Look at Justin Bieber. He's still going, and he's at the ripe old age of 18 now.
Exactly, and then they come out with their memoirs, and I'm saying, how much memoirs do they have when they've only lived 2 or 3 years as the show business here? What is it?
I know.
Was it My Years Through Acne or something? What is that? Chapter 2 to 3 or something?
The Clearasil moments.
The Clearasil days. Yeah.
Oh. The last plug, don't forget Robin Savage this Saturday night at 9.
Exactly.
And
Be
secret
there.
word, peanut butter, and you get in free.
Oh, peanut butter's the secret word?
That's the secret word this week. Peanut butter.
Peanut
People can
butter.
get in free this Saturday night.
Oh, cool.
I'm a big peanut butter fan, so I will I'll put that on Facebook. So if you say that to the door guy, peanut butter, he won't charge you the cover fee.
He won't charge you, and you can tell all your friends to say it too. So good deal.
Good deal.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for coming on, VJ. I look forward to working with you and seeing you again this Saturday.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, BJ. All righty.
Take care.
That's
funny.
Well, I know it's hard for you
Peanut
to get out, but you should maybe one of these days go down there.
I should.
It's not a big place, but it's
So I didn't get a chance to ask them. So they sell pizzas. It's a pizza shop and a club.
It is. It's actually just it's just a little pizza restaurant, but because it's his pizza restaurant, he he put actually a really cool stage. I mean, it's not very big at all, but he put a really cool stage in the corner.
Okay.
It's kind of a round stage, and it's got curtains
Right.
and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would do. I don't know. If I had my own place, I'd be
Yeah.
whatever what gets actual people in, I'll still throw comedy at them.
Yeah.
But the pizza's awesome. I actually had
good.
I think I had the
That's a unique thing. No.
what's the pocket things? The Hot Pocket before they were Hot Pockets.
Oh, I know what you mean. Now that you
They're
ask
just-
me, I can't remember.
Yeah, they're
what
just
they
filled
are.
with
calzones.
Calzone. Oh my God, that
Calzones,
calzone was
yes.
to die for.
I know.
It was good stuff. Yeah, so I mean, even in and of itself, it's got good pizza. But then on top of being a pizza place, he's got a lot of entertainment. Like I say, I'd like to bring my kids to it sometime. It's just it's a long haul.
It is a long haul down
Yeah.
to Fort Myers. Fort Myers, right? Is that where it's?
Yeah, it's in Cape Coral,
Oh,
so
Cape
it's
Coral,
it's
okay.
really close to Fort Myers. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, one of these days, maybe if I get booked somewhere near there, I could bring the kids for the weekend. Because me, I can go somewhere and come back. But with kids, you just can't
It's
make
hard,
a
yeah.
quick 2-hour drive or something. You
No.
know, then they're
Yeah.
fussy.
And by the time you're there, you're just really
Yeah.
you can't get on stage.
And then then they're heckling the magicians, and then I'm yelling
Yeah.
at the magicians for heckling them back. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
I know it is. It's a vicious cycle. But you have good kids. I've seen your kids, so they're good kids.
They are. In fact, sometimes my daughter comes with us, I just keep her off camera. But she wasn't able to today because it was raining and my son didn't have football. Anyway, she was upset because she saw you. She was like, Bob Burr, because you used to give him those little toys that they could
Oh
make.
yes.
And I said, well, he doesn't have those little toys anymore. But yeah. So
Yeah.
shout out, I got Bob
I
Burr
used to
in
say
the
Bob
house.
the Builder there.
Yes, they did. So in fact, we even have some of the little toy things. Okay. We even still have some of the toy things because I wasn't going to have them assemble them all.
Oh, that's good. I used to do that with my grandkids. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of
save
hold them. Just save them. Yeah. Yeah, because then it's like anything else. Like, then they take advantage of it, and then they're like, "Yeah, this is boring." So if you save the stuff, you're like, "Oh, who wants a choo-choo now?"
Yeah, we can
6
build
months
something
later.
together, and it's a good bonding thing for
Yeah.
parents. Yeah, there's little kits to build things together.
The little building kit.
Yeah.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left. Same thing. I would plug anything that you absolutely want to plug. Where you're going to be. I know you're more grounded because you're more of the club manager here, but.
Yeah. But we have, shows every Friday and Saturday here at Snappers Comedy Club. So, feel free to come on out, folks. And
You have someone kind of big coming up. I thought I saw the
well,
name.
we've got, we haven't got Michael Winslow coming in January, but
Okay.
but I have Julie Scoggins coming in the middle of September. I have
Julie's
Travis
really good.
Howes coming this week. We have Laszlo, who's a good local comedian, on the following week. We
Okay.
have Carl Falkenberry. I love Carl
Oh,
Falkenberry.
I love Carl.
If you want to come
Falkenberry.
out and see him, we can do that. We have I'm developing a special Valentine's show from a woman comedian from California. We're going to do a special Valentine's.
Okay.
What's that? Are we finished or what?
They're shuffling us out.
Do we have another minute? I don't
The
know.
next
Having
sex
the
show's
clock is
coming,
right there.
so.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, we have some big shows coming up in the new year too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was really
I
interesting.
appreciate it.
I learned a lot about magic and the love of magicians and comedians. So thank you very much, Bob. I'd
Oh, you're
love
welcome.
to have
Thanks
you.
for having me. If you want me to come again, we'll do more.
I would say I'd love to have you back on anytime.
Okay.
Okay, and thank you guys for listening to the Quirky Bird Show on theartsradio.com. We will see you next Tuesday for another awesome show. Have a good one. I don't know what the awesome show is going to be yet.